I haven't had time to look at the last board meeting with all the Lane Jensen controversy, with the Pam Thompson incident, and my other responsibilities. I just don't have time to watch the board meeting. But we're going to start trying to get through some of this material now. Now, what we're going to watch in this segment here is this technocrat, bureaucrat, explain to the board how they've gotten away with their fake accounting all these years. This is very technical stuff, very hard to understand, very hard to sit through, but it's the essential, important information that you need to understand. See, Trimet has been operating all these years using accounting that apparently has been false. Now, these accounting standards have been approved by, I suppose, the feds and all the rest of them. However, the accounting standards are false because they've allowed Trimet to keep certain items off of their books, like the OPED and the retirement. Well, here we are in today's world, which is a whole different world than it was 20 years ago, and now they're saying you can't keep that off the books anymore. Okay, now all of a sudden you have to deal with this. As far as I'm concerned, it's an issue of fraud that they were allowed to do this, but if you understand the way government works, and I do, government is not working for the citizens, it's working against the citizens. It's never been working for you. It's always been working against you. You've got to understand that. There was a period of time when money was plentiful and the oligarchs were not trying to take everything for themselves, but that time has changed. Now we have the oligarchs taking everything for themselves, completely raping the system and stealing from everybody they can before the whole thing crashes. And this is what we have, not just here at Trimet, but all around the country. We see it in Detroit specifically, where they were allowed to do the same type of accounting practices, which have led to the people on the bottom getting screwed, which is the way it always works. The people on the bottom always get screwed, and then the oligarchs take more. Now, if you can get through this clip and hear her, it's not the greatest audio, but I've tried to clean it up a little bit. She's going to explain the past accounting practices, which were basically fraudulent accounting practices. Now they've decided to change the rules of the game. This is how the government does it to you. You see, they'll give you one set of rules and say, okay, you can operate like that, and then they'll just change the rules, and now people get screwed. So she's going to explain to you how things used to be and how they have to be now. I didn't go put the whole how they have to be now thing because it's just boring. But it's important to understand that all these years Trimet has been functioning with an accounting system that's basically been fraudulent. And now they want to change that into an accounting system that's accurate. And of course, all the people that take it in the shins are all the union employees, of course, since we're the ones that make up the bulk of the agency. Now, all these people here are all getting six-figure salaries. Doesn't affect them. Try to get through.
Can you hear me? Is this better? Or is this better? Are we good there? Okay. So what I'm going to do this morning is talk to you about the aspects, the changes in your financial reporting requirements, and then talk to you about a couple of best practices that we're seeing with other governmental entities. In the past, the GASB said, hey, take those liabilities for your pension and disclose that information in the notes to the financial statements. And so if a person could read that far back without falling asleep, they might come to that information, have a better understanding of what your future obligations were. And then GASB has issued some other statements, GASB 45, and then most recently GASB 68. And those changes over time, what has happened is that they said, okay, well, you need to figure out how much you need to fund in the current year. And if there's a portion of that funding in the current year that you are not meeting, you're not paying, that piece needs to be reported in the financial statements, but the true obligation is still in the back and then it's in the financial statements. Now, most recently, when you look at the accounting standards that have come out, specifically GASB 68 and others to follow, is no longer is that acceptable. We want to see the whole liability on the face of your financial statements. That's a big number. For Trimet. You have union and non-union, you have your pension, and then you have your OPEB, those other post-employment benefits. And when we think of OPEB, we're talking about medical insurance and in life insurance going forward. When you look at those numbers, they're pretty big. They want them to be on the face of the financial statements, which flows down to the net position category, and it significantly affects what you have for unrestricted and restricted funds in that category. So when you look at that and the changes that it's requiring, and you're looking at having to have it in the face of your financial statements, it brings about, what should you be doing for best practices. So the first thing that I would talk to you about is making sure that you have formally adopted a funding policy that provides reasonable assurance that the pension promises can be paid.